Teacher burnout is an increasingly popular phrase that we hear. So if you're on this video, then you're probably wondering, what is teacher burnout? And maybe even thinking whether some of the symptoms that you've been experiencing yourself is teacher burnout or whether it's something else. So by the end of today's video, I want to help you clarify those two things. So give you an understanding of what teacher burnout is and help you identify whether what you are currently experiencing is teacher burnout or whether it is something completely different. So let's start off with what is burnout and what is teacher burnout. So before I even go into that, the first thing that I want to say is that burnout and stress go hand in hand. You can't really understand one without the other. So let's start at the beginning with stress. When we think about stress, I want you to think about it as pressure or force, tension even, that is placed on something. So it's a bit like a rubber band. If you pull and pull a rubber band, what's going to happen? It's going to snap. And that's exactly what happens with us. When we're placed under pressure, tension or force, we will snap. And that snapping might look like different things. It might look like physical, mental or emotional breakdown. And it's that breakdown which is called burnout. And that brings me back to my own experience with burnout. I burnt out when I was 28. I'm 40 now. So yeah, that was like 12 years ago. And at that point in time, my symptoms were all over the place. I didn't know what was going on with me. I experienced physical symptoms. So I was experiencing nerve pain. I was experiencing fatigue. I was experiencing restless leg syndrome. But I also experienced low concentration, poor memory. I had aches and pains all over the place. And it was only later that I found out that I actually developed a rare autoimmune condition called neuromyotonia or peripheral nerve hyperexcitability. Why am I sharing this with you? Because my symptoms of burnout might look completely different from somebody else's experiences of burnout. So the key question isn't what signs and symptoms that you are experiencing. If you really want to know whether you are experiencing burnout or not in relation to being a teacher, then you need to ask yourself the gold question. And that question is, have I been under stress, pressure, strain or force for an extended period of time because of my job? If the answer is yes, then you're likely suffering from teacher burnout. Teachers are different. We are what I would call heart-centered. We are going into education not because the money is great, but because we believe in a cause. We want to make a difference, and we're also driven as well. So when we add all of those things together, it means that we're more likely to keep on going past when our body tells us to stop. The teacher identity is often played upon right from the beginning. If we think about advertising to become a teacher, if we think about the experience of teachers within the teacher training programs and on the job when you actually enter into the teaching profession, there is all this verbiage around keeping on going and putting the students first, which just automatically normalizes continually working up until burnout. And even then, that becomes a badge of honor for some. Many teachers actually go into the profession quite wounded, and it's because of this wound that they want to make a difference. They want to make an impact. Unfortunately, the system and leadership plays on the vulnerability of teachers, on these vulnerabilities, which makes it harder for them to say no, makes it harder for them to create boundaries and to really look after their well-being in the way that they would want to. So we end up with a vicious cycle of insecurity, work pressures, stress and burnout, which continues on and on until something changes. I would love to know, can you relate to any of this at all? Can you see yourself in any of this? Comment below, let's shine a light on this. So now that you know what teacher burnout really is and you know how to identify whether what you are experiencing is burnout or something else, join me for the next video where I'll be talking about the one shift that has enabled me to recover my health and well-being plus my quality of life. So don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications button to be updated when that episode is out.